We've grown, look at this. I'll get Vanna to show it off. You come forward. How's my boy? I'm always afraid when I go in there with pails, they're just gonna blow me over. Big mama. Everybody's pretty happy. Morning, guys. It's looking like we have 2 ewes left to lamb, which is kind of great news. The problem is at 4 a.m. the last thing I want to do is get out of that nice cozy bed, especially when it feels like winter again. But we do, because this is when we have problems, when you decide to sleep in and there's only a couple left. The worst thing ever is when you come out and there's been a problem because you want to sleep in. Hopefully they'll go in the next day or so. Everybody else looks good. How you doing, sweetie? How you doing? How you doing, Millie? How you doing? Hi, Vanilli. How you feeling? Hey, how's that leg? Breakfast. Good afternoon. We are really close to being done this lambing group. I have 2 left. And of course, yesterday I didn't pick up the camera. We've grown, look at this. So the start of the second pen, if you remember in the last video, was way back there, and I've opened it up all the way to here today. So they actually have access to the water now. And yeah, these are all basically all from these are all from today. So we had a set of 3, but she rejected a lamb. Set of 3, set of 2, I think 2. These guys just were born here right now, so set of 2 and a set of 2. And there's only 2 left, even though that looks like there's more. I had 1 ewe abort last month. I kind of forgot about here, so she's in this group. I have the 3, the one that lost her lambs, and the 2 that had preg tox that had no milk. And then this Ile-de-France type looking run right here, that white-faced one. She doesn't really have an udder, but she still looks thick, so I'm not sure if she's pregnant or just the curse of Sandy's feeding regime. Today is weird because as lambing is wrapping up here, I'm actually going to get my next breeding group ready, and these lambs will be for September. It's just crazy how it doesn't stop, it just keeps going. The mature ewes are actually just right here, and that group is all made up of about 3 sorts. I've went through them with a fine-tooth comb, so I'm hoping to kind of get ahead of this preg tox issue. Plus there's some repeats, and I think there's 10 repeats that got missed on the scan last week. They were also analyzed kind of through a fine-tooth comb to make sure that they didn't have a real sorted past. So I hope this is day 1 of really starting to improve these issues that I saw this time. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes a lambing group. Lambing is your report card, and sometimes it does take till now, or the week before they start lambing, to know there's going to be a problem. Unfortunately, it's a hard lesson to learn, and it's a little too late, but we're going to use this as day 1 to improve all the lambing groups after now. June is still going to be a question because those ones are said and done. So we might have 1 more lambing session of issues. I'm hoping not, I'm praying not. Anyway, we're going to see, we're going to learn, and you guys are going to be here from basically from day 1 moving forward. So that's kind of exciting for you as a viewer, for me as someone that's learning as I go as well. This is why I do it. This is why I take footage, just so I can learn. I can look back and see what I've done. I know there's a ton of people that have already seen me and Carissa do this. We do it 3 times a year out of 4. So we have 4 lambing groups every year. And for January breed, April breed, and July breed, we tend to use tools such as a Cedar, just because sheep are seasonal breeders. So we do it all natural in October, but because I really need my numbers to be fairly strong all year long, like that January breed kind of killed me. Even using Cedars, it wasn't great. And it goes to show you that I have to always remember that ram power is 50% of this whole equation, and I shorted them. So learning that lesson, I spent all morning this morning making sure my ram numbers were high enough to breed these this April group. April is a cusp month for us in Canada. We're getting into these longer days, and the sheep that we have, they're pretty good at breeding out of season, but they're not great. So my goal is always to have like an 80% scan, and Cedars allow me to do that most times as long as everything else is right, which can be questionable sometimes. So we do use Cedars. Cedars they look like an IUD. I'll get Vanna to show it off. You come forward. So they look like an IUD. So what this does is it stops the U from cycling, and then when we pull it, the whole point of using this is they'll all come into heat at the same time. And why I'm doing that is because in September, so June and September, I am really busy out in the fields. So our cropping operation is 50% of my time basically from May 1st till December 1st. So in these lambing groups that kind of are in that time period, I like these because it synchronizes the breeding group. So this is why I'm using this. Some people do not like using it, and there's other ways to make sheep that don't want to breed out of season to breed in season. Quebec uses a lot of light manipulation, so they just play with daylight lengths, and that works really well for them. I know people use teasers. My friend Romy uses teaser rams. She does all natural breeding all year long. She has really good results. She also has a lot of Dorset. And I do like to keep a little Dorset in my flock. Now it is getting watered out a bit, and I'm starting to see that. So keeping a little bit of Dorset seems to help with that out of season breeding. She has really good numbers, and hers are all natural. So it's something on my list for maybe looking at rams in the future. Until then, I am working with what I've got, and Cedars help me do what I need to do to stay economical. So we're going to do these mature ewes first, and then we're going to come behind and do the ewe lambs. And I also, while I've got them in here, the ewe lambs are going to get a chlamydia vaccine. This is their second one. So if you saw my video from hopefully 3 weeks ago today, you would have seen me do this the first time. The Cedars are made by Zoetis, I believe. This is the applicator. We put basically the Cedar kind of squeezes in here, and the tail is at this end. And then I lube it up just for ease of insertion, if you know what I'm saying. So just a little dollop. And these are mature ewes, so they're okay back there. The ewe lambs, they appreciate the lube. Okay. And now all I'm doing is just scanning the tag, so I always have the record of when I'm doing stuff. And then we release. I can fit those ones now. gets cold. So it was around 80. So that might be right, actually. Well, you guys, it is Friday afternoon. I wanted to show you Big Mama. I've had people kind of in the barn. I've had my feed guy and my family in the barn, and they can't get over how big she still is, considering she's given birth to triplets. So check her out here. Big Mama. Whoa. So yeah, we still got a little fluid retained here. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. Oh, not your baby. I shouldn't laugh because it's ewes like that are causing me issues. However, of all the ewes that didn't really well, she caused me other issues, a broken leg being one, but she didn't go down with preg tox, and typically that's the ones that are carrying lots of lambs and carrying a little bit too much weight are the ones prone to it. So she's defied all odds, I guess, but she's given me a chuckle every day, which has been really good. I wanted to give you a little update on a few lambs, because the one thing about lambing time, it's a little like triage, meaning I'm always where the chaos and the confusion and the priority has to be, and in doing so I miss this. Like, I miss them growing up and running around and playing, like all the cute times. So I love early morning, late at night, when everything's kind of calm, the birds are quiet, and I can just watch them, and they're usually frolicking. In the afternoon, this is what they do, they nap. I've missed it. I miss them growing up because I'm always pushing my way that way, just getting through the group. So I just thought I'd take a few seconds, go through the group and show you kind of how big they're getting. I do need to make a creep gate here and put in my Vino creep feeders, which I love. I actually got one more delivered here on Wednesday night, so I'm excited to get that in here. And then of course I'll have another one for that back pen. So they'll have their own feeders. My bottle babies have their own, and my prison break babies have theirs. But speaking of prison break babies, I really want to see how Miles is doing. He is so big. Miles. Hey. How's my boy? Oh, you're so big. You still suck my thumb, don't you? Yes, you do. Hi, babies. Look how big these guys are. Isn't that crazy? You're so big. Look at those ears. Oh, I love you so much. Oh, hello. I did want to show you this one. Isn't that a beautiful lamb? Aren't you big? So this lamb was 19 pounds when it was born. And it was born no problem, like unassisted. Anyway, you're spoiled. You're a single baby. Spoiled rotten. Hello. Hello. Oh my boy, you are so, his eyes just sparkle. Everybody wanted to see you, Miles, so here we go. So perfect. So perfect. I love you so much. And you're still smiling. I kind of just left off yesterday and I didn't really talk about what we did here. So these are, I got everything kind of organized once we finished cedering these ewes. So I have all the ewes that are going to get bred are now all on this side. Before they were some of them were over there, some of them were back there. And the ewes that were pregnant were right here. So I moved them over yonder because they're the next to basically have babies. So these are all the ones. I always want to keep the ewes that I'm going to run through the handling system the most. I want to always keep them close to the handling system. So these ewe lambs, so the ones that are marked with a line are the ones that miss their scans. So this will be their second time trying to get bred. If they miss again, they will be shipped. And people have asked me, what do you mean by that? They go to a sales barn. So they'll go through an auction and then they'll get sold for whatever they'll get sold for. And then the ewes back there, there's a few repeats, but not many. Maybe 10 that are getting rebred for the second time. The rest are the ewes that I weaned in December. So I think there's 80 back there and 44 up here. And the boys I just moved back into their other pen where they typically always are. I will pull those cedars in 12 days today. And then I will put them in a specific ram group, whoever I want them bred to. So that is the scoop for those. I think I was in a hurry. I had to leave yesterday. Once we finished and cleaned up, I just took off, and Carissa just kind of finished up the night here. So I have a little story for you guys regarding this ewe and these little lammies. So she had 3 lambs yesterday morning. Out of the corner of my eye, I could have sworn I saw her kind of nudge a lamb. But when I was watching her, she wasn't. But she was dancing around a lot. Considering there was no other lambs and it was just her 3. And really the other ewes weren't even near her. So I knew they were hers. I put them in the pen. I put them in this pen and kind of left them, but I watched them as, because I tried to feed them colostrum, and then I just was watching Mom, and she was just really dancing. Typically when a ewe dances like that, they're either nervous because I'm there and watching, or they don't like one of the lambs. Like something's not right, because they should be pretty attentive, and I knew they had all been licked off and they all had drank, because they wouldn't take the bottle. So I kind of left them, because I knew Carissa would be in here in the next couple hours. So she came in at 7. And anyway, it did turn out that she hated that lamb and she was beating the you know what out of it. In the meantime, I had a phone call from a really good friend of mine, and we don't have if we call each other, we know that there's a problem. But I answered the phone and she was laughing, so I'm like, okay. And she goes, okay, I have a crazy request, and I'm not really sure how to ask you. I'm like, fire away. So I think a relative of hers is a fiber artist. So she does art with wool, which I find very intriguing right now. There's a few I'm following on Instagram, and I love it, and I think they're so talented. Anyway, this woman also has some sheep. I think she's got a few sheep. She lost a lamb yesterday morning. She was distraught, and I think her husband called my friend and said, I will drive the 5 hours to go to Sandy's to pick up a lamb if she has one. And I'm like, oh my goodness. When I walked into the barn, I looked in the warm room and Carissa had pulled this lamb out, and I'm like, so I texted my friend and I texted her a picture and I said, well, if this isn't fate, I don't know what is. And by 8 o'clock last night, I got a text with Mom and baby bonded. So a happy ending for a little lamb that would have just been on the it would have been fine. It would have been on the milk machine like the rest of them, and I would have had to pull one anyway. But it's really nice when I can help out someone that was really in a pinch. So bad mom was saved by a better mom, right? So I'm really glad that worked out, because it's sad when you don't have many sheep and you lose some that are really special. So that was a nice little story I thought I'd share with you guys. I'm gonna take the rest, and then I can open it up, and then there's only them left. There's Miles. So I have a small enough group here. I want to actually test this creep feeder. You're supposed to be able to leave it right in with the ewes, but my issue has always been those ewes. My ewes are so, how do you say, always wanting a treat, that I'm always afraid when I go in there with pails, they're just going to blow me over. So I thought with a group this size, I could probably handle their bulldozerness. And I need a little more room for the bottle babies anyway. So what I'm going to do is maybe move their creep feeder right into their pen so I can use this whole area for the bottle babies. And I thought it was a nice, easy, small pen that I could test it out with. So these, right down here, these are all adjustable. So I'm going to adjust it enough that I think their heads will go in it, but their mums won't. There's no feed in here, eh? There's no feed in here. Just have to watch because we don't want them to gorge. So, bottle babies get this whole area now. I was able to put this lengthwise, which is nice. So it's just easier for us to see, and they're loving it. I still have my little tiny little nurse pen for my lamb with a broken leg, and the two youngest that are just getting trained still. So we keep these guys in a smaller pen so they don't get bullied. But I'm thinking everybody's pretty happy.